JUCO Hoops Insider, we are back with another edition. Excited for we had another big-time matchup, a top 5 matchup, and the winner of that game naturally has earned National JUCO Player of the Week for JUCO recruiting. You can see the article on www.jucorecruiting.com. We are All Access Network, and we're excited to bring Coach in the building, Tallahassee Community College. I haven't been there. I've heard a lot of great things. Coach is going to tell us all about it, so we'll bring him in and talk about it. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm well, man. I saw you grooving in the backstage a little bit on the song.
That's high level, man. That's pretty impressive. I can't lie about that one.
Yeah, you can shout out to my cousin Anitra. She does all that stuff. She makes us look good. But so we had a big time game. Let's just talk about that first. We'll get into everything else. But you played number 1 in the country in Chipola, a conference matchup, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Conference game. Yeah. Tell us about the game.
It was. I mean, like the excitement, man, was elite. It was 2 teams that have great tradition. It was a packed house. It was on ESPN Plus. The city was rocking and rolling. Chipola brought some fans over. Our baseball team, softball. It was big time. We had a DJ. We had a band.
Nice.
And I mean, everything up until the start of the game was phenomenal. And when the referee, threw that ball up in the air, it was just a great battle between a very, very, very well coached team and in Donnie Tyndall's squad and our guys. It was just fun, man. And that's what you preach as coach. Every day, man. Just go out there. As a players, you guys get the credit, and and they prevailed and got the victory.
Yeah, it was a pretty close matchup. Obviously, again, 2 of the top teams, bunch of Division I players and college level players on the floor. Tell us about the game once the ball went up. What was that toe-to-toe battle? You guys have this pretty regularly, obviously in the same conference. So, what was the game like itself?
No, well, most importantly, it was very physical. It was extremely physical. Referees kind of let us play. It was toe to toe for a while. We were able to open it up. I think by probably 14-16, and then they came back and cut it to 4, and then we wound up winning by 9. But I mean, it was a showcase. Like you said, it was probably between starters and subs, probably 15 Division I guys on the court, throughout that 40 minutes. And, in sports, when 2 teams compete, it's unfortunate that someone has to come out a loser, for that game. But, Chipola's a great team and they came out, with a loss on that end, but they play hard and I get nervous coaching against Donnie's team just because I know, of how mentally tough you got to be and how physical you got to be. And, he does a heck of a job. So we got to play him 2 more times. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no doubt. And you guys have, you mentioned the ESPN Plus. What a great opportunity for junior college basketball to be able to be on display and having, 15 to 20 guys that can play Division I or play at the next level. So people get a chance to see that now on a national stage, and even college coaches, they may have a game 2 hours after. They don't have to physically show up to it. They can just pull it up. What has that been like to be able to play on ESPN Plus? And you guys play Northwest Florida on there again tomorrow. So what is that like? What has that been like for the program, for the college?
Man, listen, this has been unbelievable. We like what we talked about a little bit earlier, we don't know when we're going to be on it until maybe a couple weeks before. And, just to, be on that atmosphere at the end of the day, it's for the kids and for them to get that exposure through social media, through, people wanted to watch. It's unbelievable, man. And I never in my wildest dreams, I know that technology has advanced and it's only getting better, but I never in my dreams would have thought that a JUCO game would be on ESPN, a network. And so far we've had 3, and we're going on 4, and it could be more in February. We don't know. So it's a great time to be, playing junior college. It's great for recruiting. It's great for the college. And I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just so exciting. How could you not get up for an opportunity like that?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Coach. Let's talk about the program itself. What is the culture of Tallahassee? What does basketball look like on the floor? Give us a little bit of the insight behind the scenes of what makes Tallahassee basketball now top 3 in the country. I believe you guys came out number 3 on the recent polls, but one of the best teams in the country that can compete. Normally in junior college, obviously, if you're top 5, you can probably win a national championship. But normally, if you're one of the better teams in that league, you have a great chance because of the history of the conference. So tell us about the inside of the program.
Well, my motto to my guys, I had them in the summer, June and July. And, like I always told them, I said, just be an everyday guy. Just be an everyday dude. And, I elaborated on that. I said, you'll be an everyday guy, dude, in the classroom, in life, on the basketball court, even through your bad days. Everybody has bad days, including myself. But I cannot let it, I take that back. I cannot allow it to affect me in my coaching, in my family life. And I try to preach that to those guys as well. Just be an everyday guy. Just bring it every day. Even when you don't feel like doing it, even when there's something going on at home, in the classroom, in our first semester, we had over a 3.0 GPA, and it's a credit to those guys, for being an everyday guy. And these guys come into practice with their hard hats and their Timberland boots and their tool kits, and they're ready to absorb some knowledge of how to get better and scouting reports. And I really enjoy, if you enjoy coaching your team in January and February, a lot of good things are going to happen. And that's what we live by. And, so far it's our job to sustain it all the way until the end of March.
Yeah, you've coached at Division I level. We'll talk a little bit about your journey. But before we get to that, what is it that now, since you've been at the Division I level and you've been a junior college head coach before, now you get a second time at this, what would you say you've done differently? And what is your coaching personality like? What's your coaching approach like? If somebody was to come watch practice or a game, what do they get from Coach C?
Well, when I was a junior college head coach, I was 28 years old in 2004. I just aged myself right there. But I was what you would probably call a little hothead. Not necessarily mean or hard to play for, but I was very emotional. And just going through the 13 years as a Division I assistant, I've learned different ways to get my message across, which has carried over to this year. I'm still very demanding and I have several non-negotiables, but I've learned to talk to young men rather than at young men. And, I think they need that, but there are times where I can be intense and but my players respect it and understand it. So, it was just a maturity phase for me and just understanding the evolvement of young men of being able to get your message across in different ways. And it doesn't always, have to be screaming and yelling.
Yep, for sure. What's the basketball part of you in a game, in a timeout or something like that for recruits that may watch this? What are they getting? Are they getting? What does that look like? Take us a little behind the scenes. Give us a little footage. If you haven't seen the ESPN Plus close up, let's get it right here.
All right. Well, for live play, when the ball's in action, I'm always intense, man. I'm always, kind of pacing up and down the sideline. Always involved in the game, mainly on the defensive end. Like I have a philosophy of, if you get rebounds, you push that ball and have a little bit more freedom on offense. I said, if you're constantly taking the ball out of bounds, which means the team is scoring a lot, then I'm going to control the game how I control it. So I'm intense on the defensive end. I'm a little bit more quiet on the offensive end. I don't believe in constantly talking to these young men, during quick moments, quick reactions. Inside the timeout, I'm actually pretty reserved for the most part. There's a couple of times, like I may have a moment. If the effort on the defensive end is not where it needs to be, or if we're being really careless with the basketball. But my job is to kind of, you're calling them down because they are on high emotion. They're actually playing the game. I have to understand that it's them playing, it's not me. I'm pretty reserved, just trying to get them to kind of decompress and and get focused back for that next 4 minutes.
Right. Let's talk about your team, the players, right? There's a lot of players that are getting recruited, getting recognized. Let's talk about the roster itself, if you don't mind. Kind of just go through some of the players or all of the players that coaches need to know about that are recruitable for this upcoming class.
Well, I'll be honest. I could be a little biased. I think I have probably between 8 to 10 Division I talent guys on the roster. My starting five. I'll go with my starting five. Addison Patterson. Is my best player. He, in my opinion, I think he's the best junior college player in the country. He started out as Oregon as a top 40 player in the country. Like when he was at Oregon, he should have been a high school senior. So, he reclassed, was in the rotation for a top 25 team. You had a couple hiccups at some spots, and you trust me, I had a lot of people tell me don't take him. And I didn't listen, and I'm glad I didn't listen. A kid is a phenomenal young man. He's had some hiccups in his collegiate career that he's bounced back from, and he's a phenomenal player. Leads us in scoring, was NJCAA Player of the Week last week, and I enjoy coaching him. He enjoys being coached, and we're going to go as far as he takes us. Tom Mark is from Belgium. He's getting recruited extremely heavy, 6'7", 4-man, elite shot blocker. I think he's top 5 in the country. Very good rebounder, high motor. Can shoot it with his feet set. Big O, as we call him, Okiki. He's from Chicago. He's one of the best big men in the country. He's getting recruited by everybody, highs to mids, elite athlete, has a body like Dwight Howard. He's a late bloomer basketball wise. His upside is tremendous. If he stays trending upward, he's going to have a lot of success at his next spot and hopefully another 10 more years after that. Damani Harrison is a freshman from Atlanta who starts for me at the 2. He's a qualifier. I'll be honest with you, that kid should not be here. He's a 6'4" guard, averages 10 a game. He's getting recruited by a lot of mid-major schools. Elite shooter, shooting over 40%, athletic, great defender. My fifth starter is my only returning player from last year's team is Isaiah Cathey. And he's our floor general. He, keeps everyone stable. He runs the offense. I mean, kind of has a little Chris Paul in his game, not comparing him to that, but just in regard to calming the sea and getting everybody involved. He doesn't look to shoot a lot. He gets the ball to the right players that need to be shooting the basketball. And then off the bench, we got, I think we have 3 to 4 solid mid to low major guards. Malachi Davis, he comes off the bench. He's actually a starter. I have 8 guys that are starters, but I'm only allowed to start 5. And Malachi Davis, he leads us. He's second on our team in scoring. He's getting recruited by a lot of mids and even some mid plus schools have called about him. He has a flair to his game that a lot of people don't have. Can score it, can pass it. Pretty decent athlete. Great kid from Toronto. Jaquavian Florence is a transfer from Charleston Southern, who averages 10 a game for us. He's a starter as well. He's an unsung hero. He's probably the heart and soul of our team of hitting big threes and getting us going defensively. JP Ricks is another freshman from Baton Rouge, who's another floor general who shouldn't be here, in my opinion. He's a qualifier that's going to have 3 years. Kenny Gaines is a transfer from Marion Military that averaged 19 a game. And, good player, good guard, aggressive, athletic. And then we have Raekwon Taylor, who played at a UT Rio Grande last year. He's a 6'9" big man, played at UT Rio Grande, and averaged 7 and 7 as a freshman, had 18 and 10 versus Texas, had 15 and 19 versus Texas Corpus Christi. And he doesn't start for me. And it's not because he's not good enough, but he's just playing behind some really good guys. But, he's going to go Division I. I'm trying to figure out if I'm missing anybody else, but I don't think so. But those are about 10 guys that have been the forefront of this program. We have some guys that are redshirting that are really good as well. But, those are our dudes. Those are everyday dudes so far.
Yeah, that's a lot of some impressive resumes right there. And you keep going. I was like, yeah, I can see why I'm number 3 in the country.
I felt like I was being really long-winded, but I'm like, God, I got to get everybody in now. I can't,
That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
All right.
It's about the players. That's what we're here for. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So what about coaches recruiting your players? I always found this to be interesting when you've been on both sides, right? As a former junior college assistant for 5 years, and then you go Division I, or you're coaching grassroots, and you see those home visits, and you see those office visits, and you see guys trying to go about it. Some guys do it a great way, some guys not so much. What is a key for you as the head coach as you're helping your guys navigate the recruiting process and people are coming in? What would you say are some of the things you would like to see or guys do well or whatever the case may be?
I just want them to vet every school that is recruiting them. I in a perfect world, I want them to be in the right situation. Don't be an internet kid and try to just go to the best school because it's the highest level and so you could post it and then but you don't do it. I mean, any research. I'll be honest. A Division I coaches, I was there. We're going to make you feel like you're our number 1 target, and you may be. But if you don't do your research, then it's like when you step foot on that campus, you're going to be in for a big surprise. So my thing is, I don't control these kids. I have a lot of friends in this business, and I don't tell these kids where to go. I will never do that. I just want them just to understand, just do research. Do research on the head coach, on the staff, on the players, on your opportunity to play immediately. Obviously, you got to earn it. But, so far, coaches have been great. They've all reached out to me, and, I let them know. I say, hey, just recruit the kid, and like we have really good kids that are are focused on relationships with their coaches, mainly the head coaches, and a lot of head coaches have actually been in this gym, which is very important.
Yeah, huge when those guys come out to see for themselves, and get FaceTime and put the time in, especially as a head coach at the junior college level. What's your thoughts on? I love to ask this question. We love to ask this question about just the current times. You just listed off a bunch of guys that can play. The portal sometimes makes people think that junior college, the perception that junior college may not be as important in recruiting anymore. But really, I think it's starting to shift in year 2. Year 1, the portal was kind of just people figuring it out. But now I think people are realizing there's still some really good players you can get in junior college. And if you do the work early, then you can get ahead of some stuff and find some really quality players that still have that chip on their shoulders. Sometimes and I'm answering the question a little bit for you, but sometimes the portal can be very shiny and glittery, and it seems like it's good, but it may not have the same dog or the same grit or the same hunger and humility that you come from in junior college. So what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, man, I hope and pray that, if coaches want to keep their jobs, that they don't have that mentality of, putting junior college basketball on the back end in regard to recruiting. The level of talent at the junior college level has always been high level, but now with the portal, we're getting kids that would normally go Division I out of high school, and that are qualifiers and that are going to have 3 years remaining, because some of them don't want to go to prep school. Some of them don't know about it. So they say, hey, let me go to a high level JUCO. I'm a qualifier. Let me show out there and do well, and then I'll go Division I. So I hope and pray, because it's just a different era now. Credit to the coaches so far. We've had a lot up until now. So, if you come, sometimes, it's not bad to be late to the party, but with this team, if you come late to the party, it's going to be tough because there's a lot of people already involved, and I would hate for you to have that mindset of I'm going to go portal first and JUCO second, because there's probably 10 to 15 teams in junior college that could beat a good percentage of mid to low major schools that their talent is just as equal. Everyone just gets enamored with the name junior college or community college, but at the end of the day, they're all college kids, and their talent is just as equal. And they all and the majority of these kids are good kids. I'm a JUCO product. I played at Vincennes, so I have a little bit more bias, a little bit more protection for junior college kids, because the stigma is that they're all crazy, they're all hard to deal with, and that is false. I've coached a lot of kids in my 13 years of Division I now that came from 2-parent homes straight from high school that were difficult to coach. So you just got to do your research. You got to understand these young men and get to know them. All they want is for someone to care about them and love them and coach them the right way. And you won't have any problems with them.
Yeah, no doubt. Well said. Let's talk 2 things real quick. Latino Coaches Association. Let's talk a little bit about that. We're going to show some love there. And then tell us about your journey before we usually end with a funny story. So we're going to go to that next. I'm going to give you some time to think in the background. But tell us a little bit about being a member of the Latino Coaches Association, and also talk a little bit about your journey to getting where you are. You talked about the JUCO product part. Tell us the rest.
Yeah, no. You're being a part of the Latino Coaches Association is an honor, man, because, for many years, like I always say, there have been a Latino coaches coaching in college. It just haven't been recognized. And it's awesome that Lucas Ramirez has started this, and Sergio Rocco is helping out. He's on the board, and in all honesty, it's about time that we get recognized and for younger kids that want to get into this profession to see it's a lot of potential to have growth in this business and your work is getting recognized, and they're doing a great job doing it. So I'm greatly appreciative for that. It's my journey, man. I'll try to keep it short. I'm originally from New York City, born and raised. I'm a New Yorker. I went to high school at Albertus Magnus. It's a Catholic school, about 20 miles north of the Bronx. I went to junior college at Vincennes. Played with Tyrone Nesby, who was in the NBA for 4 years. He's my best friend, even to this day. Sean Marion, came the year after me. I was Sean Marion's host on his visit. We got some crazy stories for that day, but that's for another topic.
I bet you do.
And then from Vincennes, I went on to Tennessee Tech. Obviously, it's my alma mater. Played there for 2 years. My junior year, we had some team success. My senior year, we didn't, have the team success I wanted, but I was able to have a lot of individual success. But I would always change that and, take all the individual accolades out, to have better team success. After that, I played 2 years professionally in the Dominican Republic. But in the process of playing professionally, I was getting my master's at Tennessee Tech. I was a GA for Jeff Lebo. Because the league was in May to August, so I was able to get my master's from late August to May. So it all worked out. And then, I had a daughter in college, and I had an opportunity to go to Germany, for my third year to play. But, I wanted to be with my daughter, and it was one of the toughest decisions of my life because I was 25. I wanted to play basketball, but I also didn't want to be away from my daughter for 9 months. So I chose to get into coaching. My first job was with my dad at Miami Killian High School. I was his assistant. And then I got into college. I was an assistant at Keystone College for 2 years. I was a head coach at Lackawanna College for 4 years, both of them being in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And then I got my first opportunity from John Schulman. So John Schulman was with Jeff Lebo at Tennessee Tech as an assistant. But then he got the head job at Chattanooga, so I was able to be his assistant for 4 years. And then I went to Tennessee Tech for 5 as an assistant at my alma mater. Then I went to Austin Peay for 2, Arkansas State for 2. And then now I'm here in my second year at Tallahassee Community College.
Yeah, and then the last couple of things I'll say with it is, so what do you love about JUCO? And then I'll let you intervene into that or transition into that funny story without including Sean Marion, of course.
Well, what I love about JUCO is because we are able, not for all the kids, but we're able to have a deeper connection with these kids.
Right.
It's an everyday connection. One thing about in Division I, and I'm not speaking for everybody's program, but a lot of head coaches are a little too busy at times with other things, with media, booster club, this and that. So sometimes they only see their kids at practice. I see my kids every day. They stop by the office. I see them in class. I see them, after practice, and, I make it a habit, but it's the part of JUCO just because we don't, have a huge staff. So, the connection is there. It's a lifelong bond. Like my 2 best friends are guys that I was with in junior college.
Right.
So that's something that I love and just being there for them every single day with no major distractions.
Yeah. Amen. And then, any funny, you can say funny or good. It can be family story. We know we got to shout out to the family, so we'll start there. Anything that you want to share about the fam, and then anything that's either funny or good story for coaching, being a player, being a assistant coach, Division I coach, recruiting story. There's so many of them out there. So just whatever feels air appropriate.
Yeah, no, listen. So my first year at Chattanooga, I came down from Scranton, Pennsylvania, all the way down to Chattanooga. So obviously regionally, I didn't know a lot of players in the South. It was my first Division I job. And I was there for 2 days, and my boss, John Schulman at the time, said, "Hey man, go rent a car and drive to the University of Arkansas." At that time, I think it was the Real Deal on the Hill was being held there. So I'm in the South. I'm coming up, from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm driving from Chattanooga all the way to Fayetteville. And, and I get there and I start watching games and I'm like, man, look at this talent. It was Team Breakdown with Brandon Knight and they had another guard. I can't think of his name. And then there was a team. It was the Nashville Celtics. So obviously Nashville Celtics, I'm at all the Tennessee team games.
Right.
So I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, look, I'm eager, my first job, like I have my book and I'm writing notes in my book and I'm following this one kid. I was there for 3 days. I'm following this one kid and I'm excited. I'm excited just because I'm following him and I think I have a chance. So we get back, and have a staff meeting on Monday. And my boss like, okay, who'd you like? Who'd you see? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm going down the list. So I get to this one kid and, I'm like, this kid, coach, man, he's 6'4". He could shoot it. He plays great off screens. He doesn't handle it that great, but he doesn't miss. So he said, what's his name? I said, his name is John Jenkins. And so my boss, he's just staring at me. So I'm like, what? He said, Rick, that kid's a top 35 player in the country. And the whole room just bust out laughing. I was so embarrassed, man. I said, oh, that was a welcome to the South, welcome to recruiting that I'll never forget about in my life, man. And I have many more, but that was one that really stuck out, that humbled me. It was like, okay, use the internet.
The good thing is, though, at least you knew how to pick them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You were looking at. Yeah.
My boss saw that I was so embarrassed. He did say that. He's like, nah, I'm glad I hired you now, just because talent. So
right. You shoot for the stars, man.
No doubt.
Which just good based on your roster, coach, as you just talked about at Tallahassee. I mean, it makes sense. You still got that in you. You know what I mean?
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I hope I can continue it as long as I do this.
No doubt. What's the family part for you? How does that play into the role of you as a coach? And then what's the vision for you in the long run? What's the hope for your legacy as you get done, whenever that time is, years from now, that you want to look back and say that you were able to accomplish?
Yeah, no, the family part has been unbelievable. These last 2 years, just being a head coach, I get to bring my kids to practice. They get to come on the bus to the games. I got 3 boys, and 2 of my 3 boys love basketball. My other one is a gamer, but he just plays video games all day. But they enjoy this, man. It's just the most gratifying feeling, man. It's the 3 words I said earlier. It's the quality of life.
Yeah.
Now, I have been fortunate enough to work for four bosses that have been family-oriented guys. But it's not the same until you're the head coach of something.
Right. No doubt.
It's not the same. And, just having my family here, my wife's a teacher, I'm home almost every night until the season's over. So that's huge for me. My vision from this day forward, obviously, is to take care of business here and win a national championship. I wish I could predict the future, but my ultimate goal is to be a Division I head coach.
Yeah.
I had a small taste of an interview process. I was in the final 3 at my alma mater 3 years ago at Tennessee Tech.
Yeah.
So that's my ultimate goal, is to be a Division I head coach. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I just want to continue, to impact lives, man. And that sounds so cliche that, everyone says it, but it really means a lot when guys that I've coached in 2004 that I'm still friends with, either on Facebook or some form of social media, that they invite me to their wedding or send me pictures of their kids.
Right.
That means I had some form of an impact on their life, and that brings a smile to my face more than any win, any bucket, in anything in life. And I mean that. So that's my end goal. That's what I want to continue. And I want my kids to see me continue to do that and impact young men's lives so they can follow in my footsteps.
No doubt. Well said, Coach. We appreciate the time. Congratulations again on the Monster Week. I know you don't get to celebrate very long in the basketball world, because it's right back at you tomorrow and another big-time top 25 level matchup. And but in the meantime, you guys keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate the time, Coach, and we'll give you any last words before you run.
All right, bro. Thank you so much, man. And most importantly to you, I appreciate you thinking about me and our team down here. You didn't have to do that. Yeah. So that means a lot to me, man. And I wish you nothing but success, and I'm always here if you need me.
Yep. Thank you, Coach. Good luck the rest of the way, and keep collecting those good stories, because I know you got a bunch of them, Coach.
All right, brother. I appreciate you, man.